Hi there, welcome to Lamlam's audiobook novel channel. Today's story is titled Alpha Donavon. I looked around for that slave. Zuri, fuck that her name rolled off my tongue with so much ease. I needed to have her glaring at me with hatred. A little tint of hatred, helplessness, and the damning fact that she was the only one who dared to look me in the eyes. Her emotions were what I couldn't describe. She replayed everything she thought without the consequences that came after. I somehow preferred the hate she gave than the fake love from whoever. And today I hadn't seen her, but I could feel her presence. I could only look around the room, to search for her as mildly as I could. And when I finally saw her, she'd gotten in trouble while avoiding me. Good for her, I thought, until the man's palms descended on her face and I looked again for him to send her back when he ordered her to kneel. That was it. I stood and watches what she would do. The Zuri I knew would rather eat my sandals than to kneel in front of him. And that intrigued me. I wanted to have her, to break her and to have her bow in front of me, surrendering to me. Her eyes brimmed with tears and my ego was hurt, seeing that she felt pain for someone else. I wanted to be the only one who drew all the emotions from her, hatred, tears. I fucking needed to be in even the singlest emotion she portrayed, but that was for another day. I walked over to them and stood in front of her, shielding her from yet another slap. And the damning elders, that I knew without a doubt that I'd be the one to end their lives, felt it was right to protect his ego while he rubbed mine in the mud, after I'd told him to let her be. It had to take me stabbing a knife into his hands before he learned his lesson. And Zuri left, while I walked back to investigate what had happened at the hotel. "I'm sorry, Alpha Donavon, but the CCTV were broken and hacked into," the man in charge said as he walked to the hotel. "I needed to find the woman, to apologize and compensate her for what those men had done to me. Get me all the information you can get about the elders that were at the hotel. I needed to make sure they had a taste of their own medicine." I walked and paced in my office while my beta did as asked, and in a few hours, I stared at all of their informations on the white sheet of the laptop. House business, real estate, farming, sales and retail. 10 in total. Cause a little bit of chaos in his business, escalate into something big, release the dark secrets about his companies and make sure he has nothing to think of except for how he's going to solve his business issues in the next 3 months. I pointed to the other sheet of the information and continued. "You know what to do with him, have pest erode the entirety of his farm, his warehouse and whatever he had in storage. I don't want to know how you're going to do it, just make sure it happens." My beta nodded in response before I continued. "Have all of them in the real estate business suffer, burn a few houses, the large ones to be precise, make sure there's no casualty. His office shouldn't be left out of well," I said, and he nodded understandingly. "Do the same for every one of them," I said, and he gave a curt bow before leaving the office. I looked outside the room, and it was already dark. I'll make sure I saw to the end of these men. Each and every one of their lives will end in my hands, I swore. The room went still and I stood up to take a bath, to take a nap if it happened, before our damning insomnia crept to me again. The water of the shower drizzled down from my body, as I stood, helpless and lonely. The deafening sound of my parents' accident replayed in my head, and the only satisfaction I got was watching their murderer's daughter stare wide-eyed as I slit her father's throat. I needed to have her feel the same pain as I did, the same wretchedness I felt, having my parents stare, bloodied and lifeless at me. "She was pregnant," the doctor said at the hospital. "I could have had a sister or a brother, and yet he took everything from me within the twinkle of an eye, and I was the living witness of their tragedy. Every fucking night, their screams, the bloodied eyes, the screams of a child that couldn't see life before she was taken away all gripped me. I slammed my hands against the tiles and the sound of it cracking came next before I turned off the shower and walked outside to my room. The room was still empty, without life, and I walked naked to the wardrobe, to pick out a sweatpant and a shirt to lay down on the bed. First were tiptoes, hushed tones and the scent of another near my room. I rolled over on the bed, trying to find a better position, but the noise wouldn't cease. I slid down from the bed to walk outside the room. Maybe a stroll would do. The noise had stopped as I stepped foot outside the room. "The monster's in my head probably," I muttered to myself. "Shut up, you little bitch. I heard a scream from somewhere I couldn't decipher. This wasn't just the voices. I strained my ears to the wall, to listen to where the noise was coming from and the muffled cries. The splattering of water on the ground discombobulated the screams, and the sound of a deafening slap on a face came to my ears. Thanks for listening to Lamlam Audiobooks. If you enjoyed this chapter, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more episodes. New chapters drop every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday at 9 a.m. Stay tuned, because in this story, nothing is ever what it seems. Until next time, keep listening.